Okay, so essentially my idea for these study group Q lessons was that I'm going to be reviewing Shusaku games from the Kiseido book Invincible by John Power. It's always kind of been a project of mine, and so far I haven't made it that far through. I know I've started this book maybe two or three times, and I think I've made it maybe 20 games in, but if I do it in like a lesson format and I'm sharing it with others, maybe I'll make it further this time. Um, and this is the first game. It's actually the earliest Kifu of Shusaku that we have remaining. It's from 1840, and I think it's from about just a couple of months after he turned one dan. Um, Ito Showa was one of the strongest players of the day, and I think you'll find that Shusaku in this game is way stronger than what we would think of one dan right now. So you can don't pay too much attention to the actual rankings. White starts off not playing in an empty corner because he's trying to get things flowing quickly, right? Because he's facing a three stone handicap. Black responds here, which just happened to be the style at the time. I guess I should mention that in the book, the commentator of this game is Ishida Yoshio, and or Yoshio Ishida in the way we would say it in English. Um, and the commentary in this book kind of ranges depending on the game. Like some games that are more complicated will have 5 to 10 pages or more of commentary. This one has almost nothing, so it's mostly going to be my ideas. But the commentary here was that this is just the way that they played at the time. And if it was an even game, you would usually not see any star points, right? Because they believed very strongly that the 3-4 point was the best. So white makes that one exchange and then plays a 3-4 point. And now black's next move is a little surprising. He just plays here, which may feel like it's a little slow, but you can't really fault this move because black is making a ton of territory in the top right. And it's also putting pressure on this 017 stone, right? So it's a big move, but it's not the type of move you'll see Shusaku playing as he gets older and stronger. Oh, by the way, he's 11 years old in this game. White goes ahead and makes the same sort of exchange on the bottom. Black does the same standard answer for that time. And now white helps this stone lightly up here. Um, so where for black now? Any ideas? It's probably a lot of choices. That's a yeah, that's a good point. Actually, what black does is he approaches the corner here, which is okay because um, the A stone is not a pre-pincer, right? It's 4 spaces away, which means it's not an actual pincer. So black does have room here. Let me click white's move. White attaches here. So the reason for that is, let's say white tried like an attacking variation. Black has room for a two-space extension, right? So that's very basic, but important fundamental to know. So like I mentioned earlier, at this time they really believe strongly in the 3-4 point, and also that approaching the 3-4 point is a very, very big move. And that's still true now. And so black plays here. White attaches, which I don't think is very usual. I couldn't find this in a Joseki dictionary actually. At least not the way white plays it. Black plays the Hane because this is a stone touches stones situation. So the general rule is no Tanuki, and if you're weaker, you should Hane, and if you're stronger, you should extend. Black is weaker in this situation, so he Hanes to get uh, more forcing moves. And white plays here, which is the move I couldn't find in the Joseki dictionary. You can find this shape up on starting from a star point, but I didn't see it starting from the 3-4 point. Black, of course, Ataris, because um, this exchange is always going to be good for black. Black gets a free forcing move, and white has to play somewhat of a painful move. Um, but now black has three somewhat weak stones. So how do we decide what to do here? Any ideas where black should be playing now? There's two cuts, right? So it's kind of hard to save both. Okay, we've got F15 as an idea, G15 as an idea. Okay, so it sounds like you have the right idea. This is the move that he plays. Both of you wanted to fix on the outside, and that's the important thing. So in this situation, if you don't know what to do, you have to figure out, I have two cuts. I can't save all of these stones. Which stones are more important? And it turns out that the A stone is the least important because the top is already a narrow area, right? Because white's already up there. So connecting in the center is more important. White goes to capture this stone, and black plays Atari as a forcing move, which is okay because there's no other way of using the Aji of the A stone. So this is a good forcing move. White, of course, is going to capture. How about now? How do we handle this group for black? Where should black be playing now? Okay, D10 area, which sounds reasonable because it, somehow works with the marked stones, also as a pincer against the C6 stone. That is what I was waiting to hear. Yeah, it's hard to tell, right? Should you be playing that Atari or should you not? Um, Actually, black plays here, which is it's sort of common in this kind of shape. Like if you study the 4-4 version of, the attach and extend, this is a common move. It limits white's potential, and it also gets black down to the third line, right? Black's getting closer to the side, so he can get health. This move is tempting in terms of shape. It's important, and it's one of the moves I was thinking about. But the problem is white can come out on the left, which is more important, and it's too slow for black to start any sort of co-op there. And later on, white doesn't have to connect, right? When the time is right, maybe he just um, makes this co even bigger. So he plays here, and white plays here to keep pressure up on this black group. Now notice if white plays here, it does connect his stone on top, but black's not going to respond, right? It's too slow, too early. Black would do something on the left instead. Okay, so this is the main move in this game that the professional commentator did not like and sort of criticized. Can anyone tell me why? Right. This touches a weak stone, which means essentially black's going to be helping white to get stronger. Um, Unfortunately, the commentary in this game was pretty sparse, as I mentioned, and there actually wasn't an alternative move showed or shown for how black should play now instead. And I had a bit of difficulty myself finding how to handle these stones. So maybe that's why he played here, even though the idea isn't that great. Again, this is single stone against single stone, so no Tanuki. White feels he's stronger in this area, so he extends. And the idea behind that is to leave as few forcing moves as possible for black. And now black keeps pushing from behind. At this point, it's a weak group touches weak group, which actually switches the rule. So single stone, if you're weaker, you should hane. If you're stronger, you should extend. But when you're talking about weak groups, if you're stronger, then you hane. If you're weaker, you extend. So black gets or white gets the hane at the head of two, right? That's a key point. And black keeps pushing. And you can see if we go back to the beginning, at this point, white just has, two stones on the left side. There's 5 spaces between them. They're not really strong. By the time we finish this sequence, white has a very strong group over there with, nice territory, and black still has a weakness, right? Where does black need to play now? F11, okay. D13, right. That's where white would play, right? It's that hane. So this looks slow, but it finishes the entire black structure. So it's important. So he takes the time to play there. If we take a look at the board now, pretty much everything's settled in terms of there's no weak groups or anything like that. So white's just going to play a big move. He plays here. And black's going to respond to this, but first he makes an exchange here. Um, so is this good move or bad move? Why or why not? Okay. Seems like a good move. Okay. If I tell you it's a good move, do you have a reason why? Or can you figure out why it's okay? Do you mean inconsistent? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you said you corrected yourself. Okay. I think this move is good and it shows a good fundamental idea. So like, let's go. Yeah, Jay's got it. Good. I think you have a good understanding of this. So this is not a good move. The left side is too open, and this just helps white, right? Black still has odd G in the corner, and white shape got strong. Um, but at this point, black has a free moment, and he's noticing that now these stones are all close together. It's okay to touch this because it's no longer a weak stone. You understand that? So this is, do touch a strong stone. Um, because white has to respond. And in this case, since white is already settled on the left,